Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Pathfinder Plays. And today I want to talk about the potential for solid role-playing in Dead Matter. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with role-playing or the concept of it, it is as it says, you play a role. And the point of this is, number one, to have fun, but number two, is to tell a story. It's to escape reality and create your own. For example, you look at other role-playing games that are more RPG-like. The Witcher 3 is a very prominent one, where you don't get to make up your own, but you play in the boots of Geralt of Rivia, and you get to play him in his story. But the thing that makes games like Dead Matter special, as well as DayZ, as well as Scum, as well as maybe even Miscreated, is that you're able to forge your own narrative. And this is very powerful. Storytelling compels people. It draws people in. People have been telling stories since the dawn of time. People around fires, people around lanterns. Now we sit in our living rooms, or candlelight before that, and we tell each other stories from fictional to non-fictional, made up, folklore and tales, to even what happened earlier that day. Stories are what makes humanity go round. Stories are what pass the torch from one generation to the next. It's what creates traditions. Stories are important, because with these stories carry hope and opportunities and lost memories that people would often forget. They are very important. So when a video game, which has its own story, its own background as to what occurred and to explain why the world is the way it is, gives players the individual opportunity to craft their own narrative, their own story within its own universe. It's a very special thing. DayZ has many popular servers that are roleplay only, some loose and some not. And by loose, I mean that you don't need to go hardcore, change your accent, get a backstory and all that, but you get to play as a different person. You get to be someone who you're not for a short time, or at least for the lifetime of that character. And Dead Matter is going to be going up and above that of DayZ and its predecessors in what it's offering. And it's doing this in a rather simple yet complex kind of a way, and it got its inspiration for these ideas partly from Project Zomboid. Now, what they are offering is occupations, prior occupations to be more exact, and they have ones and they're always changing, so I don't have an updated list, but I know that there was police officers, soldiers, mechanics, plumbers, doctors, things like that. You can think of a profession and it might be in there. You have people who had jobs prior to the fall of civilization, which is where the game starts, just a mere 2 weeks after the fall of civilization. And these occupations affect your starting items. They affect what perks you have. They do plenty of things that help you craft your narrative, because just like in DayZ, where you can find police outfits and then roleplay as a police officer, you may not actually have items such as a baton or handcuffs that would signify you are a police officer, and you certainly won't have perks or traits that will signify you as a police officer. But in Dead Matter, you will spawn with police-centric items that will separate you from the rest. You will have perks and traits that are specific to police officers. You may be more grounded in hand-to-hand combat as a basic level, though not nearly as good as, say, a soldier would be. You will have proficiency in maybe handguns and perhaps a little bit in long rifles. Maybe your dexterity is a bit higher because you have to be able to manipulate small joints and fingers and handcuffs while your adrenaline's pumping through your body. There's things in Dead Matter that will allow you to sell yourself to other people in the sense of worth. And that's very important in the post-apocalyptic world. You have to have value. You have to be able to give something to a group to belong, to survive, to bargain. Your presence as a human being in a situation like this is simply not enough. To everybody, anyways. There will be some who see you as a human being and think that that is worth protecting, but many will not. So let's say you come across a band of brothers, and one is a soldier, one is perhaps a medic, and the other is a police officer. You have two people who are great at fighting and shooting. You have one person, which would be the cop, which is trained in de-escalation tactics. These are all generalizations, obviously. Who is more proficient at certain tactics like riot control or crowd manipulation or use of less than lethal options, things like that. So you have pretty well-rounded guys. You have the medic there who obviously will be able to give you some meds, be able to stitch you up, maybe even make you a splint if needed in a quicker and more efficient manner using better materials and better know-how. But let's say they come across you, a stranger. They're going to be on edge. They don't want to die. They may have lost somebody already, and who knows how long they've been traveling, what gear they have, food, water, sustenance in general, and who knows if they even have a base camp. And then here's you, by yourself, alone. You may be a threat. They may be a threat. There's intensity in the air. You could cut it with just a slice of paper. It is that thin. Moments pass, silence, you eyeball each other. And finally, you speak. You are the mechanic. And you say, I don't want to hurt you. You don't look like you want to hurt me because you would have already. I have skills that you need. And then obviously a discourse would occur. What could you possibly offer them in this world of dead matter? You offer them mechanic services. Say they have a broke down vehicle. You can fix it. Say they're trying to get electrical repair done, perhaps. I know mechanics and electricians are different, but sometimes when you learn one, you inadvertently learn the other. Who knows? So you can sell yourself to this group. You can give value as a bargaining chip. Instead of this game encouraging KOSing, though that will more than likely still happen because, as PewDiePie would say, people have small PP. There will be a good opportunity to see what exactly this person is about. What makes them so special? What about their skills? What about their traits, their perks? How have they survived so long on their own? It's not just about how well they play the game. It's about how well they craft their character, their narrative, because that affects how they will play the game. It will give you a goal in this game. So if you start the game off as a doctor, you're going to adopt a playstyle that benefits you. You're going to go ahead and search out hospitals, clinics, things that give you medical gear that you can use so you can help strangers, perhaps be of use to a group whenever one of them gets shot or gets shrapnel embedded in their flesh. If you're a soldier, you are obviously going to go around and try to find ammo, rifles, different kinds of weaponry, maybe even melee, so that way you can keep increasing your skills and being of use and value to those around you and better survive the apocalypse. If you're a police officer, you will of course search out the police station, find your old armory, grab some handguns, pistols, maybe some riot gear and helmet, face shields, and get back to your roots and try to survive that way. Your occupation that you choose has the potential to guide you through this world, giving yourself your own goals. And that's one of the things that other games like this, being open world survival games, suffer from. There's no mission. There's no goal. You have to spend time thinking of your own. If you're playing DayZ, it's the same thing over and over again. Okay, we're going to survive the coast, and then we're going to make our way to Tizzy or Northwest Airfield. It's always the same. Put up a base, this, that. Now that's not detracting anything from DayZ at all. PvP experiences in that game are some of the most intense I have ever encountered. But that does not negate the deficiencies of that game that Dead Matter is trying to fix. And so you log on to the game, you choose your occupation, that occupation guides you through the game and gives you your own points of interest that you want to go look for inherently because you chose your character with a purpose. You created it and customized it to fit your playstyle and your interests and the kind of person you would want to be in that same situation. Dead Matter could very well be revolutionary in terms of storytelling and narrative-driven gameplay that's completely off the cuff. Impromptu, improvisation, it's all there for you to just wing it. Human interactions could be huge in this game. If people really got into role-playing and really took on their characters' traits and what they do and what they did and who they are. The stories that could be told on the blogs, on the forums, in the Discord, it could be huge. It could be a plethora of great times. And that's what I think is missing in the game industry today. Many people, especially here in 2020, where the world is quite literally collapsing around us. Games keep being delayed. The virus is out causing mayhem. Violence is infiltrating our innermost cities. And the one place people have to escape, at least if you're a gamer, is video games. But what if these games do not enthrall you or captivate you or lure you in, making you emotionally attached to the world and the characters and what happens? It's just a empty, meaningless distraction which will never truly hook you. So Dead Matter could in fact be the fix for those hurting. It could be the fix for those who just want a good game to play, for those who are missing human interaction in today's world. It could be a fix, not a permanent one by any means, but it could be one. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most in terms of roleplay with this game. I know I've gone on kind of a tangent, but role-playing video games are very important to me because I like stories. I like narration, I like depth, I like experience, and if I see a game, any game, that can give me that or give you that, my interest is immediately piqued. Because I want to white knuckle that game and never let go until I have squeezed out every little drip of story and lore that it has to offer as if it were a sponge. But what are your guys' thoughts on the role-playing capabilities of Dead Matter? What are your thoughts on the deficiencies of past games in terms of roleplay? Will you be partaking in taking up a role and playing it as a prior occupation and finding people and bargaining for your life using your skills and traits? What will you do in Dead Matter? I am curious. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I will do my best to respond to them. And if you guys like scares, survival, and scavenging, consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell button, share this with your friend, and join my Discord. Link is in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Path out.